For those of you that don't know, this is Brianna Ghey. Brianna was a 16-year-old transgender girl living in Warrington. She was a year 11 student at Birchwood Community High School, and her family describes her as a larger-than-life character who would leave a lasting impression on all that met her. Brianna was beautiful, witty, and hilarious. Brianna was strong, fearless, and one of a kind. In the afternoon of February 11th, her body, suffered with multiple stab wounds, was found on a path in Linear Park. She had been murdered by two local teenagers, both aged at 15. She underwent the pain of a fatal stabbing and a subsequent death. The attack was a targeted attack, and an unfortunate example of all too common hate crimes against queer youth. The average European lifespan is roughly 80 years. Brianna experienced less than a quarter of the potential time she had. Brianna had an entirety of her life ahead of her, and in an instant, it went away. For zero good reason. Brianna was born in 2007. I'm currently 16 years old, born in December of 2006. And first hearing the news of her death gave me so many emotions, so many thoughts. The most fearful ones being simply, it could have been me. It could have been anyone who had transitioned at our age. Knowing that before all this, Brianna had faced years of bullying at her school for who she was, it hurts. It really hurts. Transphobia and hatred in teenage years is an extremely concerning issue that continues to run rampant. 15 years old with enough hatred to murder someone for being themselves is not natural. In the 1.5 months of the year starting, 36 trans people have been murdered globally. I often face harassment for living as myself. Often, I fear for my life, just merely based on my existence and my circumstances. Brianna's death fills me with frustration for the ignorance and arrogance that fills society regarding the safety of the LGBT and especially its youth. Children are killing and children are being killed. I could die at any day simply because of my identity. My colleague could die for the same reason. People across the globe have been dying for this reason, and it's not fair. Brianna's death fills me with misery, for as much as I try to stay hopeful, there will always be someone out there who wants me dead, as well as somebody taking action themselves to cause these things to happen to people like me and people like Brianna. Human life should not be held at this little value. On December 29th, 2022, a 22-year-old Nikki Secondino was charged with murder, attempted murder, and criminal possession of a weapon after killing her father and stabbing her sister in their Brooklyn apartment. A large portion of the reception to this news online was not by people that value life, more shocked and upset to hear about the tragedy that had happened, but rather by people who jumped to the opportunity to correct the story by relentlessly calling the transgender Nikki a man and spewing out as much transphobia as they possibly can vent out due to Nikki being a murderer and it being justified in their eyes. I am not bringing up this topic to solely defend or sympathize with her actions, but rather to give an example of how transphobes will act when hearing about a criminal transgender individual who they see as morally unjust, and compare that to how they react to a completely innocent young girl who is Brianna Ghey being murdered for being trans by teenagers her age. Well, complete opposite sides of the spectrum, right? They would show, of course, zero empathy for Brianna, and even after death, celebrate that a young girl had been killed, justified by the fact that she was trans. Publishers have been contacting places like Brianna's former dentist to find out her dead name to use instead. Online, thousands ignore the tragic loss of life to focus on the body she was born in instead, and how she should be recognized. Past death, people will still garner zero sympathy for trans youth. Simply for existing as who we are put in direct danger. All of this is nothing short of infuriating. I feel completely hopeless, and I feel completely sorrowful. I wish I had some sort of faith that the near future will supply safety and care for us, but It's so difficult. It's so difficult. I will likely never forget Brianna's name and face, and I hope many more keep her in thoughts when recognizing the pit that trans people globally are incapable of escaping in the current climate. If there is anything to take out of this video, please spread unity and end unnecessary hatred, prejudice, and marginalization. Be the best you that you can be. Protect trans youth. Rest in peace, Brianna Ghey.
ありがとうございました。